serene halls of Astoria Palace erupt into chaos as news breaks. Princess Clara, poised and ever dutiful, has fled her royal obligations and eloped with her shirtless, tattooed yoga instructor in a cliffside ceremony in Bali. Barefoot and blissful. No security detail in sight. The headlines are relentless. Crown chaos. Princess goes off the mat. Namaste and goodbye, royal life. Inside the palace, Queen Eleanor faints dramatically into a silk chaise, while King Richard demands an emergency PR summit. Clara was supposed to marry Prince Nicholas of Veronia, sealing an age-old alliance between two historic kingdoms. Now, with the royal agreement teetering on the edge of collapse, a substitute bride must be found, fast. The answer: Princess Beatrice. Bea, Clara's younger sister, long considered the family's lovable misfit. Unlike her regal sister, Bea escaped Astoria's royal bubble years ago. Now 29, she lives anonymously in New York, thriving in her creative niche, designing eco-friendly packaging and sipping overpriced oat milk lattes in Brooklyn. She hasn't worn a tiara since prom and thinks protocol is an app. The call comes while she's mid-brunch with friends, halfway through a spicy mimosa. Her phone buzzes. Caller ID, Royal Palace. Bea sighs. This can't be good. Next thing she knows, she's booked on a first-class flight to Europe, dragged back into a world of scepters, scrutiny, and the sisterly mess she thought she'd left behind. The royal family doesn't just need damage control. They need her to become a bride, and for Bea, who never wanted a crown. This is so not in the plan, but duty, like a bad ex, has a way of showing up uninvited. Still jet-lagged and half-convinced this is some elaborate royal prank, Bea steps off the palace's private plane in Astoria, wearing a hoodie that reads introverting. She's greeted not with a warm welcome, but with a waiting car, 2 stewards, and a royal stylist already assessing her with a measuring tape. The palace hasn't changed. Towering halls, ancestral portraits with perpetually judging eyes, and a lingering scent of lavender and formality. As she walks through the grand entrance, palace staff nod stiffly. Some remember her as the spirited teen who once replaced the royal dinner music with Beyoncé. Bea's parents, Queen Eleanor and King Richard, are waiting in the formal sitting room, looking like they haven't slept in days. Beatrice, the Queen begins, her voice clipped yet maternal. You've come at a most unfortunate time. Yeah, I read the headlines, Bea replies, slouching onto a gold-trimmed chaise. Is she really doing goat yoga in Bali now? Or was that just the Daily Mail being extra? King Richard clears his throat. This isn't about Clara's hobbies. It's about duty. Yours. Bea frowns. Mine? I thought I was just here to smile at a few press conferences and maybe pretend Clara's not married to a guy named Leaf. But her parents exchange a nervous glance. No, darling, the Queen says. You're not here for damage control. You're here to replace Clara in the marriage agreement. Bea nearly chokes on the palace biscuit she's just bitten into. I'm sorry, what now? King Richard leans forward. The alliance with Veronia must hold. Without it, our economic and diplomatic ties weaken significantly. Their heir, Prince Nicholas, was set to marry Clara next month. With her gone, the responsibility now falls to you. Bea stares at them like they've asked her to move to Mars. So let me get this straight. Because my sister ran off with her downward dog soulmate, I have to marry a man I've never met, in a kingdom I've barely heard of, wearing a dress that probably weighs more than I do? Silence. The Queen softens. I know it's a great deal to ask, But it's for Astoria. For the family. Not for me, though, right? Her voice cracks. Not out of defiance, but disappointment. Bea left this world behind years ago for a reason. But now, the crown is calling her back. Not for love, not for happiness, but for duty. And unfortunately, duty tends to get what it wants. Bea paces in her childhood bedroom, the one with lavender wallpaper and a stuffed corgi named Sir Barkington still perched on her old window seat, ranting into her phone on speaker. I wear sneakers, not glass slippers. I've had avocado toast every day for the past year. I haven't owned a fascinator since ever. On the other end of the line, her best friend Gia, still in New York, still sarcastic, says dryly, "You're right, definitely grounds for diplomatic immunity." But Bea isn't amused. Her suitcase sits open, full of her usual wardrobe, joggers, denim jackets, and graphic tees with quotes like, "Books over boys," and "Just say no to pantsuits." A flurry of royal-appointed dressmakers are knocking at the door, requesting measurements for the engagement wardrobe. "Tell them I'm shaped like rebellion and mild sarcasm," she mutters. At dinner that evening, Bea formally protests to her parents. She lays out a PowerPoint presentation titled Top 10 Reasons Why This is a Terrible Idea. Slide 1. We're not in a Jane Austen novel. Slide 2. Prince Nicholas probably collects swords. Slide 3. I once got kicked out of a state dinner for saying bored AF. The king sighs. The queen drinks her wine. But nothing changes. The next morning, Bea's protest comes to a quiet end as she stands in front of the palace steps, dressed by royal command in a sleek but demure travel ensemble, complete with kitten heels she already hates. The royal car is waiting. Her bags are packed. Her future has been politely, infuriatingly hijacked. Bea glances up at the massive palace doors, then back at her reflection in the car window. "This is temporary," she mutters. "I'll go. I'll smile. I'll find a way out." Because even if she's agreed to go to Veronia, that doesn't mean she's agreed to stay, especially not as someone's princess. The plane touches down on a foggy Veronian morning, and the scenery looks like it's been plucked straight out of a fairy tale or a coffee table book titled European Charm You'll Never Afford. Rolling vineyards stretch out beneath snow-capped hills. Tiny towns with terracotta rooftops dot the countryside, and a medieval-style palace sits high above it all, regal and intimidating. Bea peers out the window and mutters, "Yep, definitely not Brooklyn." At the tarmac, a small but meticulously arranged, welcoming party waits. Dignitaries, royal guards in crisp uniforms, and a brass quartet playing something unnecessarily dramatic. Bea steps off the plane in oversized sunglasses and a trench coat she thrifted, clutching a tote bag that says emotionally unavailable. And then, there he is. Prince Nicholas of Veronia, Charlie Carrick. Tall, impossibly composed, wearing tailored gray, with a royal sash that somehow doesn't make him look ridiculous. He steps forward, bows slightly, and offers a tight smile. "Princess Beatrice," he says formally, with the faintest British lilt. "Welcome to Veronia." Bea lowers her sunglasses. There's a beat of awkward silence. His eyes flick, just for a second, toward the private jet behind her, clearly expecting someone taller, someone more. "Clara." "You must be Prince Nicholas," Bea replies, forcing a polite smile. "I've heard something." His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Likewise. You're not exactly what I was told to expect." Bea's smirk comes easily. "Oh, I've been hearing that my whole life." The two stand facing each other, the air thick with mutual discomfort and passive-aggressive politeness. The palace aides glance between them, wondering if this is how fairy tales begin now. The ride to the palace is quiet, except for the faint sound of a news segment on the in-car TV. Speculation continues about the sudden switch in royal brides. Sources say Princess Beatrice was always the wild card of the family. Bea snorts and leans closer to the screen. Wild card, that's new. Nicholas doesn't laugh. When they arrive at Castle Aurelia, the ancestral home of the Veronian royal family, Bea is led inside by footmen with faces carved from stone. Marble floors, ancient portraits, and chandeliers the size of swimming pools. It's beautiful, yes, but it's also cold. Nicholas offers a final nod. I'll see you at dinner. It's formal. Please be punctual. She gives him a winning smile. Oh, don't worry, Your Highness. I'll be there with bells on. She's bluffing. She hates bells, and he knows it. The battle of wits and wills has officially begun. Bea's first official day at Castle Aurelia begins with a 6 a.m. knock at her chamber door and a voice that chirps, time for etiquette tutoring. She opens the door in a robe and mismatched socks. Time for what now? By 7 o'clock, she's attempting a curtsy that looks more like a squat. By 8 o'clock, she's holding a teacup so delicately she spills it down her arm. And by 9 o'clock, she's been firmly corrected for waving at the palace guards, like she's in a parade float from 1998. Does everyone here sleep in suits? She whispers to herself as a footman passes by, wearing white gloves and zero emotion. Her day continues with a formal breakfast in a chandeliered dining room where 6 forks surround a single grapefruit half. Nicholas sits across from her, perfectly composed, slicing fruit as if he's doing surgery. He offers her a cool nod. You're late, he says. Good morning to you too, Sir Frowns-a-lot, Bea replies, stabbing her grapefruit with the wrong fork on purpose. Cue awkward silence, but just when she thinks she might run screaming from the nearest tapestry-covered exit, Ray Lim, enters the picture. Dressed in sleek slacks and a sly grin, she introduces herself as His Royal Highness's special assistant, then leans in to whisper, and your unofficial survival guide. Later, over a secret stash of gummy bears and imported ramen noodles hidden behind a false panel in Maylin's office, the two bond fast and deep. I once fell asleep during a royal lecture on silver polishing, Maylin confesses. I once got kicked out of the Astoria archives for labeling portraits with sticky notes, Bea counters. What did they say? Looks bored, definitely a vampire, and secretly hot. They both laugh, real snorty laughs, not the diplomatic kind. For the first time since landing in Veronia, Bea doesn't feel completely out of place. That night, as Bea peeks out her window at the moonlit palace courtyard, she admits to Maylin, I don't belong here. These people breathe protocol. I breathe sarcasm and oat milk. Maylin shrugs. Maybe that's exactly what this place needs. Bea doesn't say it aloud, but part of her hopes that's true. Because if she's going to survive this royal circus, she's going to need more than curtsies and corsets. She's going to need allies. And gummy bears. Definitely more gummy bears. The grand dining hall of Castle Aurelia looks like something out of a Renaissance painting. Vaulted ceilings, candlelit chandeliers, walls lined with oil portraits of serious-looking ancestors, and one suspiciously smug falcon. Bea arrives to her first royal banquet, fashionably late, and fashionably chaotic. She's wearing a stunning emerald gown, paired with two entirely different shoes. "Did you mean to do that?" Mei Lin whispers, trailing behind her. Bea glances down, one heel, one flat. "Absolutely not. I thought the left one just felt edgy." As she's announced at the top of the staircase, all heads turn, including Prince Nicholas's. He takes in the shoes, a slightly too loose updo, and the tiny mint stain on the hem of her dress, and blinks once. Hard. Dinner begins. 5 courses, 4 forks, 3 minor protocol violations by Bea before the entree even arrives. She tries to blend in, truly. She holds her soup spoon almost correctly. She remembers to pass the butter counterclockwise. But then, the menu. Oh, the menu. Set beside her plate is a parchment-thick menu nestled beneath a decorated gold candelabra. Leaning forward to read what exactly terrine of quail essence means, Bea doesn't notice the tiny flicker of flame catching the corner. It's Mei Lin who spots it first. Bea. Your menu is on fire." Bea looks down and gasps as a delicate flame curls around the edge like it's in an action movie. Panicking, she snatches up her napkin to swat at it, which only spreads ash across her gown and into the Duchess of Denaria's suit. Gasps, audible gasps. "I've got it under control," Bea insists, fanning wildly as a footman swoops in with a silver tray and snuffs the menu out with all the drama of a Shakespearean death scene. There's stunned silence. Then, an unexpected sound. Laughter. Prince Nicholas, usually the model of royal restraint, has covered his mouth with one gloved hand. But it's too late. He's chuckling, genuinely. He hasn't laughed like this since... Honestly, no one remembers. Bea turns red. Is it too late to plead diplomatic immunity? Nicholas shakes his head, still smiling. "Welcome to Veronia, Princess." By morning, the tabloids have a field day. Royal menu meltdown. Astorian princess sparks flames, and gossip. Dinner a la disaster. But for once, the headlines aren't cruel. They're charmed. And so, secretly, is Nicholas. Because while the evening may have gone up in literal flames, something else, something unexpected, is starting to spark. The morning after the flaming menu debacle, Bea is summoned to the East Conservatory, a glass-walled room that smells like roses and judgment. Prince Nicholas is already there, immaculately dressed, as usual, staring out over the palace gardens like he's contemplating the fate of empires. "Did you call this meeting to scold me or propose a duel?" Bea asks, sauntering in with a croissant in one hand and a very unroyal coffee in the other. Nicholas turns, expression unreadable. "I called this meeting because last night was a diplomatic disaster." Bea flops into a velvet chair. Funny, because it felt like dinner theater. 5 forks, flaming menus, and awkward silence. Just needed a juggler. Nicholas's jaw tightens. "You find this amusing?" "Not this. You. The whole situation. The fact that I'm supposed to marry a man who speaks in press, releases, and glowers like he's auditioning for Downton Abbey, The Revenge." He exhales slowly. "You're clearly not taking this engagement seriously." Bea rolls her eyes. "And you clearly iron your socks." A tense silence settles between them. "I don't want to be here either, you know," she says, more quietly now. "This wasn't my plan. I had a life, a job, a very promising new murder mystery show I was halfway through." Nicholas softens just a fraction. And yet, here we are, bound by treaty, tradition, and the world's nosiest press corps. Bea leans forward, arms folded. "Let's get something straight. I have no intention of becoming some polished princess. I'm not my sister. I'm not graceful or obedient or crown compatible. Nicholas's mouth quirks ever so slightly. Noted. So, what do you suggest? She smirks. We play along. Fake smiles, photogenic hand-holding, press-ready chemistry. You get your alliance, I get out of here with my dignity. Then we both walk away. He raises an eyebrow. You want to fake an engagement to royalty? Better than faking a personality. There's a pause. Then he nods. Fine, but I have one rule. Of course you do. No more fires at state dinners. Bea gives him a mock salute. Copy that, Prince Grumpy Pants. His lips twitch, just slightly, before he turns away. Neither of them notices the palace aide peeking through the doorway, quietly texting another royal staffer. They're already bickering like a married couple. It's gonna be delicious. Bea is halfway through a breakfast croissant shaped like a crown when King Leopold, stoic, regal, and already fully dressed for a portrait, enters the room like a man on a mission. We need to talk, he announces. Bea gulps. About the croissant? I swear I didn't know it was ceremonial. But it's not about breakfast. It's about business. With Clara gone, the king says, Veronia still needs a face of the monarchy. And since you've made yourself visible, he gestures vaguely, likely referring to the flaming menu and her wildly popular post-dinner TikTok clip. It's time you assume public duties, starting now. Bea nearly chokes. Public duties? Like ribbon cuttings and baby kissing? Start with a speech. Tomorrow, in the town square, he says, turning on his polished heel, and wear something with sleeves. Left in stunned silence, Bea turns to Mei Lin, who's already one step ahead. We need a strategy, Mei Lin says, flipping open her tablet. You can't out-princess the public's expectations, but maybe you can redefine them. Cue montage. Bea and Mei Lin stay up late, brainstorming, surrounded by coffee cups and royal archives, post-its stuck to portraits of Veronian ancestors like Looks Judgy and Major Ego, probably a Leo. The next day, dressed in a tailored jumpsuit, with sleeves, thank you very much, and her hair in a high bun with just the right amount of rebellion, Bea steps onto a stage before hundreds of curious citizens and dozens of skeptical reporters. She clears her throat. I'm not who you expected, she begins. I'm not polished. I'm not perfect. I once spilled soup on a duke and accidentally set a menu on fire. The crowd laughs. But I am here, and if I'm going to be part of Veronia's future, I want it to be honest, inclusive, and a little less obsessed with teaspoons. The speech goes viral. By that evening, hashtags like #NewVeronia, #burnt menus and bold moves, and #princess relatable are trending. Royal advisors are baffled. The queen quietly sips tea. And King Leopold? He mutters, unexpected, but effective. Nicholas watches it all from the palace media room, arms crossed. When Bea walks in, flushed and breathless, he simply says, Not bad, Princess Chaos. Bea grins. Coming from Prince Grumpy Pants, I'll take that as high praise. She doesn't know it yet, but the people of Veronia aren't just warming up to her. They're falling in love with her. And so, maybe, is someone else. The grand ballroom of Castle Aurelia glows with warm candlelight and strings of fairy lights suspended like stars across the ceiling. The Veronian Charity Gala is in full swing, gowns sweeping, champagne flowing, and chamber music floating in the air like soft perfume. Bea arrives fashionably 10 minutes late, escorted by Mei Lin, wearing a sleek navy gown that walks the line between royal and rebellious. Her hair is pinned up with antique Veronian sapphires, a last-minute compromise with the royal dresser after she refused anything that itched or sparkled like a disco ball. She scans the room and finds Nicholas across the crowd, polished in his tailored tuxedo, speaking with dignitaries, every inch the princely figure from a painting. Their eyes meet. For a moment, there's nothing else. Shall we dazzle the donors with forced charm and minimal sarcasm? Bea mutters as she approaches him. Nicholas glances at her with a smirk. You clean up surprisingly well. Careful, she replies. That almost sounded like a compliment. A string quartet begins to play a slow waltz, and couples glide toward the marble dance floor. Nicholas, ever formal, extends his hand. May I have this dance? Bea stares at him, eyebrow raised. Do you know how to dance? I'm a prince, he says dryly. We learned foxtrot before we learn algebra. Bea snorts, then places her hand in his. Their first steps are stiff. Two reluctant dance partners, caught in a contract neither of them signed. But gradually, the rhythm pulls them in. Their movements grow fluid, the tension loosens, and for a moment, the sarcasm fades. Don't look now, Bea murmurs, but I think we're actually dancing. I noticed, Nicholas replies. You haven't insulted me in almost 30 seconds. Don't get used to it. They both smile. Something shifts. The music softens. The lights glow golden, and the world around them seems to slow. Nicholas's hand grazes the small of Bea's back, just briefly. Her fingers tighten gently on his shoulder in response. It's not a kiss. It's not a confession. It's just a moment, a real one. But then, just as quickly, it ends. The music fades, applause rings out, and they both step back. Bea clears her throat. Well, that was shockingly non-disastrous. Nicholas gives a small nod. I've had worse. Neither of them says it out loud, but something happened on that dance floor. Something that can't be undone, and no one noticed. Except maybe Mei Lin, watching from the side, quietly smirking into her champagne flute. Late one rainy afternoon, Bea wanders through the palace's quiet corridors, escaping the endless buzz of royal protocol. Drawn by the faint smell of pencil shavings and old paper, she finds herself in a dusty, sunlit study, clearly Nicholas's private retreat. On an antique wooden desk lies a leather-bound sketchbook, half hidden under a stack of official papers. Curiosity gets the better of her, and she picks it up. The pages reveal a different side of Prince Nicholas. Exquisite architectural drawings, watercolor landscapes, and detailed plans for a Veronian museum of modern art and history. A project close to his heart, but kept secret from the press. Bea flips through sketches of soaring glass ceilings, open galleries, and community spaces filled with art and laughter. She's surprised. This isn't the stiff, reserved prince everyone expects. It's someone with vision, passion, and a creative soul. She reads, utterly engrossed. But then something feels off. A shadow falls over the desk. Nicholas stands behind her, eyebrow raised. Interesting choice of reading material. Bea jumps and turns around, clutching the sketchbook like a guilty teenager caught with a forbidden novel. I didn't realize you kept this here, she stammers. He steps closer, arms crossed, trying and failing to hide his amusement. You're reading it upside down. She blinks, then laughs. Well, it's abstract art, right? Maybe it's meant to be viewed from every angle. Nicholas shakes his head, but there's warmth in his eyes. I didn't think you'd care to see this side of me. Care? I'm fascinated. You're not just a brooding royal statue. He smiles. A real one. I've kept this hidden because I thought people expected me to be one thing. Perfect, polished, predictable. But it's not who I am. Bea closes the sketchbook gently. Maybe it's time to show Veronia the real you, starting with that museum. He nods slowly. And maybe the real you too. The moment lingers, two people peeling back layers, discovering unexpected common ground beneath the royal expectations. Sometimes the best stories are drawn in pencil. The palace library is a cavernous sanctuary of ancient books, velvet armchairs, and soft golden lamplight. It's late, well past official royal hours, and the rest of the household has long since retreated to their quarters. Bea and Nicholas find themselves alone, seated side by side on a plush leather sofa, heads bent together over a dusty volume of Veronian folklore. The conversation drifts from the tales inside the book to whispered confessions about their fears, dreams, and the exhausting weight of their royal roles. Nicholas reaches out to tuck a stray strand of Bea's hair behind her ear. The air thickens. Their eyes lock, breaths slow, and the world outside the library seems to fall away. Their faces inch closer, lips nearly touching. Then, clink. A tray of steaming hot cocoa appears, carried by none other than Mei Lin, who freezes mid-step, eyes wide behind her glasses. "Don't mind me," she mutters, lowering the tray onto a nearby table with a dramatic sigh. Bea jolts back, cheeks flaming. Nicholas clears his throat, trying to regain composure. Quite the timing, Mei Lin. She shrugs with mock innocence. Someone has to keep you both hydrated and socially appropriate. Bea whispers, "Thanks for the rescue." Mei Lin grins. "Anytime. I'm basically the royal chaperone." Nicholas chuckles, shaking his head. "Next time, a little warning?" "Where's the fun in that?" Mei Lin replies, winking as she exits the room. The moment passes, but the spark lingers. Bea and Nicholas exchange a glance that says, without words, this isn't over. Sometimes in a palace full of rules, even an interrupted, almost kiss feels like a small rebellion. The morning sun streams through the palace windows, but the atmosphere inside is anything but bright. Bea scrolls through her phone, barely able to stifle a groan. Her face is plastered across every social media feed with the caption, "Princess Bea, graceful as a gazelle on ice." Royal rug rumble, Bea takes a tumble. From heiress to hilarity, Astoria's new meme queen. The culprit? A candid paparazzi shot snapped during a formal ceremony just hours ago. Bea's foot caught dramatically on an ornate, centuries-old rug as she stumbled, arms flailing before managing an awkward recovery. She's become an overnight viral sensation, and not exactly for her poise. In the ornate royal council chambers, Nicholas sits grim-faced as his advisors hover nervously around him. "Your Highness," one whispers, "the public image is deteriorating rapidly. This is damaging the alliance. Perhaps it's time to reconsider the engagement." Nicholas's jaw tightens. "So, you suggest I ditch the woman who's been the only real thing in this royal mess?" The advisors exchange uneasy glances. Later that day, during a surprise press briefing, reporters swarm. Flashbulbs pop like fireworks. Nicholas steps forward, clears his throat, and looks directly into the sea of cameras. Princess Bea is not a perfect royal. She's human. She stumbles. She laughs. And frankly, she's exactly who Veronia needs right now. The crowd murmurs. He continues, voice steady but sincere, We're not here to uphold dusty traditions or staged perfection. We're here to build something real, together. The statement shocks the palace, and even Nicholas himself. Bea watches from behind the scenes, heart swelling with unexpected warmth. Her prince, the man she once called Prince Grumpy Pants, just became her fiercest defender. And maybe, just maybe, they were stronger as a team than anyone expected. The ornate doors of the Queen's private sitting room swing open with a soft but deliberate creak. Bea steps inside, immediately struck by the contrast to the public grandeur of the palace. This room is darker, heavier, lined with ancient tapestries and portraits whose eyes seem to follow her every move. At the center, Queen Eugenia sits perfectly poised, a porcelain teacup balanced delicately between her fingers. Her gaze is sharp, measured, and nothing like the warm smiles Bea has encountered elsewhere. Princess Beatrice, Eugenia intones, voice cool and unwavering. Sit. Bea lowers herself onto the high-backed chair, suddenly feeling like a child called to the principal's office. The Queen pours tea with meticulous precision. I will be frank, this is not a storybook, Bea. It's not a romance, nor a comedy. It is duty, sacrifice, legacy. Bea swallows, gripping the teacup tighter. I understand, Your Majesty. Do you? Eugenia's eyes bore into her. Your sister abandoned her responsibilities for love. Foolish, yes, but you will not follow that path. The room seems to grow colder. This engagement is not about your happiness. It is about stability for Veronia. You will wear the crown with grace and restraint. Bea's voice is steady, but with an edge. With all due respect, Your Majesty, I'm not Clara. Eugenia's lips curl into something resembling a smile. Precisely why this is harder for you. You're not trained, polished, or bound by centuries of tradition, but the crown cares little for sentiment. The silence between them is thick. After a moment, the Queen stands, signaling the end of the meeting. Remember, Princess, fairy tales end when reality begins. You must decide if you're ready to live in that reality. For Veronia, as Bea walks out, the weight of those words settles heavy on her shoulders. This is not a game, and the stakes have never been higher. The pressure of the palace, its polished floors, endless rules, and Queen Eugenia's piercing words feels suffocating. Bea doesn't want another staged smile or another lecture on grace under fire. So, under the cover of twilight, she slips out of Castle Aurelia. The cobblestone streets of Veronia are quiet, bathed in golden street lamps and the soft hum of distant music from a nearby festival. Bea's sneakers click against the stones as she rounds a corner and spots a small, cozy cafe nestled between a bookstore and a flower shop. Pushing open the door, she's greeted by the warm scent of freshly ground coffee and baked goods, a comforting contrast to the chill of royal life. She slips into a corner booth, pulls out her worn planner, and starts doodling. Little crowns with smiley faces, stick figures holding hands, and escape plans scrawled in the margins. The door chimes softly again. Before she can react, she looks up to see Prince Nicholas standing there, an amused but concerned expression on his face. "Fancy meeting you here," he says, sliding into the seat opposite her without waiting for an invitation. Bea raises an eyebrow. "I was going for undercover royal, but I guess I'm about as stealthy as a glitter bomb." Nicholas chuckles. "I didn't come to lecture you. Honestly, I'm glad you left the palace. We need to stop pretending everything's perfect." For the first time since she arrived, Bea feels the walls around her start to crumble. They talk, not about protocol, not about alliances, but about fears, hopes, and the impossible weight of expectation. Nicholas shares his own moments of doubt. Bea confesses how lost she feels, being thrust into a world she never asked for. Between sips of cappuccino and laughter over ridiculous doodles, something shifts. No longer just future bride and reluctant prince, they become two people finding connection amid chaos. When they finally leave the cafe, the night feels a little less cold. Because sometimes the best escapes aren't about running away. They're about finding someone who understands why you need to. One crisp, sunny afternoon, Bea receives a mysterious note slipped under her chamber door. Meet me on the rooftop at noon. Bring your sense of adventure. N. Curious and a bit skeptical, she ascends the grand staircase to the palace's hidden rooftop garden, a secret sanctuary framed by climbing ivy, blooming roses, and panoramic views of Veronia's rolling hills. There, laid out on a cozy blanket, is a perfectly imperfect picnic. Mismatched plates, sandwiches wrapped in parchment, a thermos of iced tea, and a small bouquet of wildflowers. Nicholas stands nearby, holding a basket with a shy smile. Thought we could escape the palace for a bit. No protocol, no expectations. Bea plops down with a grin. I'm in, as long as there's no candelabra involved. They share sandwiches and stories, their laughter mingling with the gentle breeze. For the first time, the masks slip completely. Nicholas admits how he feels chained by tradition, a prince expected to be flawless. Bea confesses how she's always been the black sheep, forced into a role she never wanted. As the afternoon sun warms them, a comfortable silence settles. Nicholas reaches out, brushing a stray lock of hair from Bea's face. Their eyes meet, soft, vulnerable, and full of unspoken promises. Then, with a tenderness that surprises them both, their lips meet in a kiss, gentle, sweet, and undeniably real. Up on the palace rooftop, away from the world's expectations, two unlikely souls find a moment of true freedom. And for Bea and Nicholas, it feels like the beginning of something beautifully unexpected. The following weeks bring a whirlwind of change. Suddenly, the media narrative about Princess Bea flips. No longer just the royal rug rumbler or the menu fire starter. She's now heralded as Veronia's new darling, a breath of fresh air in a world weighed down by centuries of tradition. Headlines glow. Princess Bea, from disaster to darling. The royal rebrand we didn't know we needed. Prince Nicholas and Princess Bea, Veronia's new power couple. Social media buzzes with fan art, hashtags like #Bea and Nick, and even viral clips of their rooftop picnic and candid laughter at public events. Bea finds herself signing autographs, smiling for cameras, and even, shockingly, enjoying parts of royal life she never imagined. But behind the sparkling headlines, the reality deepens. A private conversation with Nicholas reveals that the future is shifting faster than they expected. Dad's health isn't great, Nicholas admits one evening as they walk through the palace gardens. The council thinks I might have to ascend the throne sooner than planned. Bea's smile falters. That means this marriage won't just be symbolic anymore. Nicholas nods, his usual composure tinged with vulnerability. It'll be real. I won't just be a prince playing at duty. I'll be a king, with a queen by my side. The weight of those words settles heavily between them. No more rehearsals, no more fake it till you make it. Theirs is becoming a true partnership with real stakes and real expectations. As their bond blossoms under the public's approving gaze, Bea and Nicholas face a new challenge: to turn the storybook romance into a lasting reality. And neither of them is quite sure where that path will lead. The palace garden is blooming with spring flowers and tentative hope when a sudden, unexpected guest arrives. Princess Clara, barefoot, sun-kissed, and holding a bright green smoothie like she's just stepped off a wellness retreat. Bea is mid-conversation with Nicholas when a royal aide nervously announces, "Your Highness, Princess Clara has requested to see you." Bea's heart sinks. Minutes later, Clara strolls in, radiant and effortlessly carefree, wearing a flowing sundress and a mischievous smile. She greets Nicholas with an easy hug, but turns sharply to Bea. "I just wanted to stop by and bless the arrangement," Clara says, taking a big sip from her smoothie. "You know, sisterly love and all that." Bea's jaw tightens. "Bless or sabotage?" Clara laughs, brushing back a strand of hair. "Oh, Bea, don't take it so seriously. Honestly, you're just the royal backup plan. I was the princess, the future queen. And then I ran off with my yoga instructor." She shrugs, unapologetic. "You're the nice girl who stepped in. No offense." Bea's eyes flash with fury. "No offense taken, except it's not just anything. I'm not a placeholder. I'm not a second choice." Nicholas steps between them, voice firm. "Enough." Clara raises an eyebrow, clearly enjoying the tension. "I'm not here to start a fight, just to remind you both that this isn't as simple as it looks." She turns to Bea one last time. "Good luck. Back up, princess." And with that, she slips away as suddenly as she arrived, leaving Bea simmering with anger and doubt. Nicholas places a steady hand on Bea's shoulder. "She doesn't get to define you." Bea exhales, her resolve hardening. She defines exactly what I'm not." The return of Clara isn't just an interruption, it's a challenge. And Bea knows she has to prove, to everyone, that she's no one's backup. She's the future. The tension that's been simmering beneath the surface finally erupts in the ornate sitting room of Castle Aurelia. The flickering fireplace casts long shadows on the walls as Bea and Nicholas face each other, both exhausted, both hurt. Bea's voice trembles with frustration. "I feel like I'm just filling a role because Clara ran off. Like I'm the easy fix, the consolation prize." Nicholas's eyes flash with hurt and anger. "That's not fair, Bea. You think I wanted this? To have my life, my future, dictated by someone else's mistake?" She crosses her arms, stepping closer. "Then why does it feel like you don't really want me? Like I'm just a placeholder until something better comes along?" His voice rises. "Maybe because every time things get tough, you run. You fled the palace tonight when you were overwhelmed. I'm trying to build something real here, and you keep pulling away." Bea's eyes fill with tears, but her voice is steady. "I'm not your consolation prize. I'm not here to patch things up or play second fiddle. I deserve more than that." Without waiting for a response, she turns and strides toward the door, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. Nicholas calls after her, desperation creeping in. "Bea, wait." But she's already gone. Outside, the night air is cold and biting. Bea pulls her coat tighter around her and walks away from the palace, the weight of the argument heavy on her heart. For the first time, the future feels uncertain, and both of them are left wondering if the fractures between them can be mended, or if the royal arrangement is truly coming undone. The next evening, Bea is curled up on her bed, nursing a tub of ice cream and scrolling through old photos on her phone, when a determined knock echoes through the palace door. Before she can respond, Mei Lin bursts in, arms loaded with a crate of snacks, a bottle of wine, and a stack of movies. Operation Save Princess Bea from Emotional Constipation is a go, Mei Lin announces, plopping down on the bed beside her. Bea raises an eyebrow. Emotional constipation? Yep. When you bottle everything up, pretend you're fine, and then everything explodes into a royal-sized mess. Mei Lin shakes her head, pulling out popcorn. Been there, done that. It's not pretty. The two settle in, and Mei Lin launches into a heartfelt and hilariously blunt speech. Look, Bea, I get it. You're scared. You're used to running when things get hard. But hiding behind sarcasm and mismatched shoes isn't going to save you now. You've got something real with Nicholas, messy as it might be. And if you want to keep it, you've got to fight for it. Bea looks away, vulnerability flickering in her eyes. What if I'm just not cut out for this royal stuff? Or for him? Mei Lin nudges her gently. Cut out for royal stuff? Maybe not, but cut out for you? Absolutely. You're stronger than you think. And Nicholas? Well, he needs someone who won't quit. Someone like you. Bea exhales, the words sinking in. Maybe it's time to stop protecting yourself from pain and start risking everything for what you want. They clink wine glasses, and for the first time in days, Bea smiles. A real, hopeful smile. Because sometimes, all it takes is one friend, one intervention, and a whole lot of snacks to remind you that love is worth fighting for. The palace is buzzing with urgency the morning the news breaks. King Leopold is abdicating earlier than anyone anticipated. An official statement announces the abdication is effective in 3 weeks. The crown will pass to Prince Nicholas, who is now not just heir apparent, but the soon-to-be King of Veronia. The palace corridors fill with whispers, advisors scurry to adjust schedules, and the press descends in a frenzy. Amid the chaos, Nicholas summons Bea to a private chamber. His face is grave, the weight of the crown pressing heavily on his shoulders. The council insists I marry before the coronation, he says quietly. There's no more room for engagement or negotiations. It must be official by then. Bea's heart sinks. 3 weeks to go from reluctant fiancé to queen. I know it's sudden, Nicholas continues, but this changes everything. We have to show a united front. For the kingdom, Bea nods, swallowing her fears. I'm with you, whatever it takes. But beneath her brave words, a storm brews. The ticking clock sharpens every uncertainty, every doubt. The fairy tale is speeding toward a climax, and the stakes have never been higher. Because soon, they won't just be playing roles. They'll be ruling a kingdom together. The serene hum of a New York yoga studio is suddenly shattered by an unexpected interruption. Bea, mid-downward dog and blissfully unaware, freezes as the studio door swings open dramatically. In strides Prince Nicholas, tuxedo replaced by casual jeans and an earnest expression. Looking completely out of place among the yoga mats and incense, the instructor stops the class, jaws drop, and everyone's eyes turn to Bea, who's now awkwardly balancing and trying not to topple. Nicholas clears his throat, walking straight to her mat. Bea. She rises, stunned, heart pounding. Nicholas! What? How did you find me here? He takes a deep breath, the noise of the city muffled behind the studio walls. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to see you, to tell you, here, now, that I want you. Not the crown, Not tradition, not duty. The room falls silent, New Yorkers whispering in disbelief. Nicholas reaches for her hands, sincere and unyielding. I'm ready to fight for this, us, on my terms. No scripts, no royal ceremonies, just you and me. Bea blinks, overwhelmed but moved. Around them, the world blurs into background noise, leaving only the truth in Nicholas's eyes. For the first time, it's not about titles or alliances. It's about real, messy, unpolished love. And in that moment, awkward yoga poses and all, Bea knows things will never be the same. Back in the quiet of the yoga studio, after the stunned silence, Bea pulls Nicholas aside, her eyes searching his. I'll come back with you, she says slowly, but on one condition. Nicholas looks at her, attentive and hopeful. No more pretending. No silent queen. No perfect princess act. Bea continues. If I'm going to be part of this, we modernize the monarchy together. We show Veronia a future that's real, authentic, flawed, and a little rebellious. Nicholas's smile is slow but sure. He reaches for her hand and squeezes it gently. We'll rule our way, he promises. No scripts, no masks. Together, Bea exhales, relief and excitement mingling. For the first time, the path ahead feels like theirs. Not one dictated by history, but by the love and courage they share. And as they prepare to face the kingdom hand in hand, they know they're ready to write a new chapter. One where the royal we truly means both of them. The palace halls, usually echoing with solemn footsteps and hushed whispers, now buzz with frantic energy. Royal staff race to coordinate invitations, floral arrangements, and the inevitable endless fittings. The wedding of the century is officially underway. Bea, however, brings her own brand of chaos to the centuries-old traditions. During a royal shoe fitting, she shakes her head at a towering pair of stilettos. Nope, flat shoes only. I want to dance, not break an ankle. The palace shoemaker is aghast, but Bea is determined. Comfort is royalty too. Next, the music director presents a list of classical wedding pieces. Bea grins and pulls out her phone. Let's do a Spotify playlist. Some modern vibes mixed with Veronian classics. And yes, that includes Beyoncé. Nicholas raises an eyebrow but nods. I'm trusting you on this. Cake tasting is a highlight and a disaster. 3 layers of cake, 6 flavors, and countless spoonfuls of frosting later, Bea and Nicholas find themselves in a playful frosting fight. Frosting smeared on their noses and gowns. Your Highness, one horrified advisor whispers, this is highly unorthodox. Bea laughs, wiping frosting from her cheek. So is love. Amid the chaos, laughter, and frosting, Bea and Nicholas realize the wedding won't be perfect, but it will be them. And in a palace full of rules, that's the most royal thing they can do. The grand hall is filled with glittering guests, shimmering chandeliers, and hushed anticipation. Outside, the bells are poised to ring, signaling the start of a momentous day. But inside the palace, behind heavy velvet curtains, Bea paces nervously in her dressing room, heart pounding like a drumroll gone rogue. Her hands tremble as she clutches the delicate lace of her gown. Too much tradition, too much expectation. Suddenly, the door opens softly, and Nicholas steps inside, frosting still smudged comically on his collar from their earlier cake fight. He watches her for a moment, his eyes full of understanding. You don't have to do this because it's expected, he says gently, stepping closer. I don't need a queen who fits a mold. I need you, all of you. Bea stops pacing, looks up, and meets his gaze. Steady, warm, real. And I want this, she whispers, voice cracking but sincere. Nicholas smiles, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face. Then let's make this the start of our story, on our terms. They lean in, their lips meeting in a tender kiss, frosting and all, sealing their promise amid the chaos. Bea exhales, the fear melting away. The ceremony can wait a few minutes longer. Because right now, what matters most is that they face the future together, unshaken and united. The sun sets over the rolling Veronian countryside, casting a golden glow across the palace rooftop, transformed into a whimsical garden oasis. Twinkling fairy lights dance in the gentle breeze, and an intimate crowd of close friends, family, and dignitaries gather beneath a floral arch that Bea personally helped design. Bea stands radiant in a dress that's elegant, yet effortlessly modern. No towering tiaras, just a simple flower crown that complements her natural grace. Nicholas waits, equally relaxed, with a mischievous sparkle in his eyes and a boutonniere that matches Bea's bouquet. As they exchange vows, laughter and tears intermingle. Bea cracks a joke about her infamous mismatched shoe debut, earning delighted chuckles from the crowd. Nicholas responds with a quip about her frosting-covered royal decree that has everyone, including Mei Lin, who's wiping joyful tears, laughing through sniffles. Queen Eugenia, seated regally but with moist eyes, surprises everyone by reaching out to squeeze Bea's hand firmly, and even the royal dog, perched adorably on a velvet cushion nearby, lets out a joyful bark at the perfect moment. When Nicholas takes Bea's hands and says, "I choose you, today and every day, no scripts needed," the rooftop seems to hold its breath. Bea smiles, eyes shining, and replies simply, "I do." The crowd erupts in applause as the newlyweds share a kiss, soft, real, and full of promise. In that golden light, surrounded by love and laughter, Bea and Nicholas begin their life not just as royalty, but as partners who rewrote the rules and lived happily ever after. The palace buzzes with a new energy, less stiff formality, more genuine laughter and creativity. King Nicholas and Queen Bea have taken the throne with a mission: to make the monarchy relevant, relatable, and rooted in the people. Their first royal campaign launches with a video titled "Behind the Crown," where Bea and Nicholas give a candid, humorous look at their daily lives. From spilled coffee in the morning to late-night royal debates about which pizza topping reigns supreme. The video goes viral. Next comes the royal TikTok takeover, a series of hilarious clips featuring Nicholas attempting dance challenges with questionable coordination, Bea photobombing official portraits, and Mei Lin masterminding playful pranks on palace staff. The kingdom can't get enough. Beyond the laughs, Bea and Nicholas spearhead real community initiatives, funding youth arts programs, organizing local food drives, and hosting open forums where citizens share their ideas and concerns. Their hands-on approach breaks down centuries-old barriers, making the monarchy a symbol not just of history, but of hope. During a televised town hall, Bea smiles warmly as a young Veronian tells her, "You make us feel seen." Nicholas adds with a grin, "And we're just getting started." Together, they prove that a monarchy can be modern, messy, and deeply loved, all at once. Because ruling with heart, humor, and honesty is the new royal decree. The palace gardens are alive with spring blooms and laughter as Clara returns to Veronia, this time without the carefree bravado, but with a quiet humility that catches Bea off guard. Bea is in the rose arbor when Clara approaches, hands nervously twisting a scarf. "Bea," Clara begins softly. I was reckless. I hurt you, and I'm sorry. I want to make things right, if you'll let me. Bea studies her sister's face, the vulnerability, the sincerity, and for the first time, she feels the walls between them begin to crumble. I've missed you, Bea admits, a smile tugging at her lips. They embrace, laughter bubbling up as they stumble through awkward apologies and memories of childhood mischief. Over tea and late-night chats, the sisters rebuild their bond, sharing silly stories, inside jokes, and even plotting harmless pranks on Nicholas and Maylin. Clara's presence becomes a source of joy rather than tension, a reminder that family, even royal family, is messy, complicated, and ultimately worth fighting for. Together, Bea and Clara prove that forgiveness is not just a royal duty, it's a sisterly superpower. The royal jet touches down first in Tokyo, where crowds gather eagerly to welcome King Nicholas and Queen Bea. The couple steps onto the tarmac, waving warmly, their easy smiles and candid conversations already breaking the usual royal mold. Their mission: to promote the Veronia Arts and Innovation Initiative, a collaborative project spotlighting young creatives and tech pioneers across the globe. In Tokyo, Bea marvels at a holographic art installation, joking with local artists about her questionable tech skills. Nicholas surprises everyone with an impromptu karaoke performance, eliciting cheers and laughter. From there, they jet to Toronto, where the vibrant multicultural city embraces them with open arms. At a community center, Bea and Nicholas join a dance-off against local youth, their playful competitiveness becoming an instant viral sensation. Throughout the tour, their authenticity shines. They share candid stories about royal life's ups and downs, admit to awkward moments, like Bea's legendary rug stumble, and openly discuss their hopes for a modern monarchy that listens and evolves. Journalists praise their refreshing approach. Citizens worldwide see them not as distant figures, but as relatable leaders who embrace humor, humility, and heart. Each city they visit, each stage they step onto, they strengthen the bond between Veronia and the world. By the end of the tour, Bea and Nicholas prove that ruling with openness and joy can inspire not just a kingdom, but a global community. The Grand Hall is filled with journalists, cameras flashing, and microphones poised. It's one of the most anticipated interviews since Bea and Nicholas ascended the throne, a chance to glimpse the personalities behind the crowns. The host, a seasoned reporter with a sly smile, leans forward and asks the question that everyone's been waiting for. What would you say is your biggest royal strength? For a split second, silence hangs in the air. Then, Bea and Nicholas turn to each other and share a knowing smile. A look forged through trials, laughter, late-night talks, and stolen moments. Nicholas breaks the silence first, his voice warm and steady. We don't rule alone. Bea picks up seamlessly, her eyes shining with conviction. We're the royal we. The room buzzes softly as they continue in unison. Nicholas and Bea aren't just two individuals with titles. We're a team, a partnership, and a reflection of the people we serve. Every decision we make is with the kingdom's heart in mind. Together. Nicholas gestures toward Bea, adding, "She challenges me, inspires me, and keeps me grounded." Bea laughs softly, replying, "And he reminds me that tradition can evolve without losing its soul." They exchange a quick glance, a quiet celebration of the journey they've taken, from reluctant royals to leaders who embrace authenticity over perfection. The reporter, impressed, nods. So, it's not just about I or me, but about we? Exactly, Nicholas affirms. Leadership is never a solo act. It's about listening, growing, and sharing the load. Bea leans in slightly, her tone playful, yet sincere. And sometimes it means having a partner who's not afraid to dance in the palace gardens or share frosting from a cake fight. Laughter ripples through the room. As the interview wraps, photographers snap one final shot of the royal couple standing side by side, united, unshakable, and ready for whatever comes next. In that moment, Bea and Nicholas embody the true meaning of their reign. The royal we, a partnership built on love, trust, and the courage to rewrite the rules together. The night sky above Veronia is alive with a breathtaking spectacle. Hundreds of glowing lanterns gently rising, drifting like stars released from earthly bounds. The entire kingdom has gathered below the palace, their cheers and laughter echoing through the crisp air, celebrating not just a royal union, but a new beginning. On the grand palace balcony, Bea and Nicholas stand side by side, hands entwined, hearts full. The cool breeze tousles Bea's hair, and Nicholas pulls her close, his other hand resting protectively on her waist. They watch the lanterns float upward, each one carrying a wish, a hope, a promise from their people and from themselves. Bea's eyes glisten with tears of joy. Look at that. It's like the whole kingdom is sending us light. Nicholas smiles, brushing a stray tear from her cheek. We've come a long way, from awkward introductions and royal scandals to this moment, ours, truly ours. They share a soft laugh, remembering their missteps, the mismatched shoes, the frosting fights, the almost kisses interrupted by hot cocoa. No fairy tale is perfect, Bea murmurs, resting her head against Nicholas's shoulder. But ours is real, he replies, kissing the top of her head. Below, the crowd erupts in a final chorus of cheers as the lanterns reach their zenith, a glowing constellation against the velvet sky. Bea and Nicholas turn to each other, eyes shining with unspoken vows. We'll face whatever comes, Nicholas says, together. Imperfect, unpredictable, and completely ours, Bea agrees, smiling. They lean in, lips meeting in a kiss that's tender, joyous, and full of promise. A kiss that seals their journey from reluctant royals to partners in love and leadership. As the lanterns drift higher, their future stretches before them, unknown, challenging, but bright with possibility. And in that luminous moment, under a sky full of light and a kingdom full of hope, Bea and Nicholas begin their happily ever after.
The Stories book is a captivating collection of tales that traverse diverse genres and emotions, spanning the realms of fantasy, science fiction, romance, and mystery. Each narrative is a journey into the unexpected, weaving intricate plots and compelling characters. With a skillful blend of vivid imagery and thought-provoking themes, this anthology invites readers to explore the depths of imagination and discover the universal threads that connect us all. From heartwarming moments to spine, we hope you enjoyed these captivating video stories. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming content like this. Thanks for watching and keep spreading the video story.